As the first round of the NBA playoffs comes to a close, Patrick and I have our 5 biggest questions going forward for the rest of the playoffs and the offseason with teams that are winning and losing. Let's get into foul trouble.
James, I feel like I need to let the people behind the curtain a little bit right here. After we did our playoff predictions podcast, which no one should ever go look at because, boy, am I wrong, left, right, and center in that podcast. But right after we are done recording, you turn to me virtually and say, are there any teams that you're not cheering for that you didn't pick that you're cheering for? And I looked up with a sly grin and I said, I'm definitely cheering for the Timberwolves. And they pulled through. Oh, boy. It's like the evil empire has fallen. The Yankees, the Cowboys, the Lakers, your whole shared fan base. I'm sorry, but I'm dancing on your grave today. How you doing, James? I'm sorry that your Lakers lost in 5.
I'm good. I think the basketball world is a loser, though, because even though the Timberwolves did win in only 5 games, those games were all but one game one were great close games. Really entertaining
absolutely
back and forth games. Yeah.
I will push back. This last game was one of the weirdest games
it
that
was strange. I did get to
ever seen.
I caught the last 6 minutes. It took a break from filming to watch the last 6 minutes, and it raises a lot of questions. I don't know I think I know exactly where I want to go with my first question, or if you want to go with your first question.
No. Jump into it, my man. Jump into it.
So obviously, a lot of people are going to go, what does this mean for the Lakers? What is the big man they're going to get? I have more of a schematic question for the Lakers going forward. It felt like Lakers really tried to get that really high Luka pick and roll to set up the 4 and 3 going, and they never quite got it. And they kept, messing around with Rui setting it for Luka, and then Rui wouldn't stand where Luka wanted him to. But then was wondering, why are they not doing this with LeBron, so LeBron can be in the Draymond role off that high pick and roll? So I guess my question is, because as the series went along, it went in game 1 and 2, it felt much more like the Lakers were playing through LeBron and Luka. And by the end of game 5, I don't know if it's because LeBron was so old and fatigued, but it felt like they started to look a lot more like the Mavs in terms of Luka's on-ball primacy. And so my question for the Lakers is LeBron going to come back to play in the Luka ball role, or are they next year going to look more like how they looked during the regular season, where it was like a mix of Luka ball and LeBron ball?
I mean, I feel like the only sustainable answer to this question is something in between, like the latter part of your prediction, because it's true. It's so weird because I think there were so many moments in the second half of this season where you saw it. Like, you saw it click, you saw it work, you saw like the swing, LeBron's on the weak side, and like he's able to make the decisions that just break the back of the opposite team's defense. And I mean, I think it's definitely a product of the Timberwolves being just a next level defensive team, which they've been for a little while now. But also there was just such disconnection. And I felt like, especially in the last 2 games, it was a little, JJ Redick got a little like internet, like he was so definitive with his choices that he made that I felt like he just didn't give them any outs. Like saying before the game, like, hey, we're not playing Jackson Hayes at all. It's like, really? Because it seems like, I know he's not perfect, but it seems like at least for a 5-minute stretch in this game, we're going to need at least a little rim pressure, and a big diving off of Luka would help a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the Lakers have a lot of roster, issues. I mean, surely they're going to go get a center. That's got to be thing number one. Go get the center. Because it did feel like when Dorian Finney-Smith fouled out, that game kind of was over.
Oh, 100%. Do you want to hear the center free agents that are available upcoming?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Okay, so we've got Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Miles Turner, which I would assume is a little out of their price range, but who knows. Naz Reid has a player option for $15 million that I'm pretty sure he's going to turn down. Steven Adams, who I think is a pretty interesting fit there. Mo Wagner probably won't end up seeing it, but Al Horford, Kevon Looney, Andre Drummond, and then we just get into, the guys that are free agents every single year. To me, it's feeling like it's got to be a trade for the Lakers to acquire their center.
Maybe even a sign and trade for one of those guys.
Yeah, maybe if you can figure out something with Naz Reid, I feel like that definitely makes a lot of sense.
I feel like the name they should chase first and foremost, because the price won't be on the Naz Reid level, is Clint Capella.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think Clint or Steven Adams, the way Steven Adams has been able to survive in the playoffs this year is like so encouraging to me.
I think for the Lakers, the dream would be get Capella on a pretty reasonable sign and trade deal with Atlanta and get Steven Adams in free agency. The problem with a lot of these guys that you're naming is they're international players. Even Capella, I think he's Swiss. And I feel like their motivations with team movement is a lot harder to predict at times.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, all these guys are definitely in the twilight of their careers. And I think with mediocre big men that, like, are starters, that have been starters for a long time in the league, the fall is pretty sharp usually. So it's like you got to be careful in, like, what's going on there.
Yeah, I think I don't want to do too much Lakers questions. I think one other Lakers sub-question, though, is what does an Austin Reeves-Luka Doncic backcourt look like full-time? Like, do you have to constantly insulate them with just an amazing defensive front court for that to work?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I've seen a little bit of, like, is trading high on Austin Reeves right now the move? Which I think is interesting because it's like long-term, definitely no. LeBron, he's not going to be here forever, and that entails you having to knock the Austin Reeves trade, in finger quotations, out of the park just like insanely. So it's like, can you get a guy that's as good as Austin Reeves? I don't know, but yeah, I don't know if there's three players that they could feasibly fill a starting lineup with that is going to insulate them the way that they need to be insulated.
Yeah. All right. What is your first question?
I mean, I wrote down kind of a little bit goofy ones, but I think you're one of the perfect people to answer this question. How does this affect? We're staying with the Lakers because we're a national podcast and it's what we do. How does this affect LeBron James's legacy? I am not above this to discuss this. I mean, LeBron James is 2-12 in his last 14 playoff games. Of course, he's 40 years old. We've never seen anyone with a sustained prime like this, but if we're calling it a sustained prime, like 2-12 is not not great.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the immediate discussion outside of this games has kind of informed that it's not going to be too effective because it seems like everyone's realizing that the Lakers just had no shot with a center. Now, I do think Game 4 would have been winnable if him and Luka had made those two layups that they kind of bricked open layups. So it's not like the games were completely unwinnable from the perspective of LeBron and Luka because both of them, and again, Luka had a bad missed layup last night too. That really hurt them. I don't know if it affects his legacy all that much. I think the only way his legacy is really going to get affected is if Curry goes out here and wins his 5th ring, and I think that might raise some more questions than LeBron losing this first-round series.
Yeah, definitely. He's in an interesting place with his legacy right now because it's like it's almost impossible to compare him with Jordan right now just because it's like, and this is the whole GOAT debate in my opinion, is like, and it's been said a million times, there's the longevity thing with LeBron, the super high peak, but like so much of legacy is storytelling, and why like I think MJ works so well in this whole thing is his career is just so pretty and perfect. It's like it's the rise of like what we're kind of seeing with Anthony Edwards right now of like, fail against the elite of the elite, some of the best teams of all time until you get over the hump, win 3, gamble, get shadow banned, 3 more championships, and then it's kind of done. I don't think like the kind of shredded ends of this career rope are gonna long term really affect it either. But I did want to bring it up just for a second.
I mean, it's almost weird though, because I feel like if you watch the games, he wasn't perfect, but he was very clearly the best defender for the Lakers. And it's almost a weird thing where it's like the fact that we're even discussing this and with how well he did play despite the record in those games, because he was amazing in the first round last year. It was not his fault they lost to Denver. And he was also pretty good in those conference finals as well. The common theme between all 3 of the series that accumulated that record is the Lakers got destroyed on the boards by the other team's bigs.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, even in Game 3, in this series, he was absolutely incredible in that.
So it's almost like the fact that we're even talking about this at his age, I feel like is a testament to how
his greatness.
Incredible he is. Yeah.
What about Luka?
I mean, Luka, I have a lot more questions about. I don't want to do all Lakers for questions. I guess real quick on Luka, he just definitely didn't look like himself, except for like a 2-week stretch to close the regular season. He really never looked like himself. I feel like he looked like something's weird. He looks like he's lost weight, but he looks kind of not that much faster than he did when he looked a bit heavier in the year. I don't know if he's playing through an injury. He feels a little hobbled. He's missing some layups that he never misses. And his ability to navigate the double teams. I mean, this was like the calling card of what made him so great last year. It felt like it was a little diminished this year, in the playoffs at least.
Yeah, he definitely I mean, we didn't really see him go into that full Luka, screaming at the fans throughout the entire game, like version of Luka Doncic that we've gotten so used to in the playoffs. But I don't know. Luka has such a weird, unique, especially now with the trade legacy to this point of his career. And it's going to be interesting going into next season, seeing what the Lakers do, because these like macro, like mainstream narratives are so loud now that like Luka's terrible at defense. Like you're even starting to see the like, was Nico Harrison right? Which I am not in any way ready to go there, but it's starting to creep in, and it's going to be interesting to see if it's like a, kind of like a Jordan, like you stomp those narratives out really quickly of like, I'm just a scorer, like you can't win around someone who scores this much, or it's more like, a Dirk narrative arc where it's like, he's so good and he's producing these like regular season juggernauts time after time after time. We see him in the Western Conference Finals a couple times. We even see him in the finals, but because of roster construction, it takes him, an extra 5 years to like actually get over that hump and win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're almost at the point in the NBA where your role players determine more so who's going to win than your star player. Because it feels like we have so many superstar players that it's just like, who has the best collection of guys around them? Sometimes it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally true. But it's definitely not how we tell the story.
No, not how we tell the story. Okay, my second question is, when are we getting the holy shit monster Jokic game? Because I'm worried for the Clippers now. They're down 3-2 and we haven't had that yet. So last year, Denver, Jokic put up a game where he had 40 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, 15 of 22, just like absolutely dominated. Everyone was going crazy. He was running circles around Gobert, who had won Defensive Player of the Year. And I feel like in this Clippers series, Jokic has obviously been pretty awesome, but we haven't had the like, holy shit, Nikola Jokic game. And like, is that going to close it out? Are we going to get it against the Thunder? Like, it's coming. Like, there's no way it's not coming. Like, is it coming in Game 7 if there's a Game 7?
I mean, I think you could argue that Game 4 was kind of there. He had 36 and 21 in that. I can't remember how many assists he had, but it was fairly insanely dominant. But I hear you. I think the way Game 4, which we haven't talked about yet on the pod, the Nuggets, air ball, Kobe style air ball alley-oop to win the game it was so back and forth that it wasn't like this is the Jokic game and we're not going to remember it as the Jokic game. I mean, if I had to guess, it's probably coming up next in Los Angeles tonight. And by the time you're watching this podcast, you'll probably be able to say whether you saw it or not. But, I mean, hey, last game, he just didn't have to do that at all. If he continues having Jamal Murray 40 bombs in the playoffs, he can sit tight.
Yeah, has this series made you rethink about what you think of Denver at all?
I picked the Clippers not necessarily because I was super down on Denver. I think it had more to I picked Clippers in I think 7. Because I just think a lot of the Clippers, I think they're a really, really deep team. They could, depending on how these games have gone, they could easily be the team that's up 3-2 right now. And, it just didn't shake out that way. But, I mean, hey, if I don't want to play Denver or the Clippers for that matter. It's such a terrible reward for the Thunder that are waiting for them, but they're going to be nice and well rested.
The Clippers could be up 3-2. But I think what I'm worried about for the Clippers, Patrick, we had the Harden game.
Yes, we
Playoff
did.
Harden. We're seeing what it looked like at the end of his Philly tenure. I'd be terrified if I was a Clippers fan right now.
But I think you could say that on both sides of the coin of like, we've had that Harden game now, and I would argue that even the last 2 games have been kind of like the classic Harden like disappears game, but we haven't had like the random, James Harden scores 15 points in the fourth quarter
I don't
game.
think we're getting that anymore. I don't think that Harden exists anymore.
It might not, and I don't know if that's more because of Harden or more because of Christian Brown, who has just been an absolute animal this series.
I'm going to say it's got to be Harden just because this has happened many years now.
Yeah, but even last season, we got a crazy Harden game.
Game one or game 2 against the Celtics. But once he had the first bad game, there it was. It was like that was it. All the games were bad after that one. That's what I'm worried about with Harden here.
But don't forget his old friend, Russell Westbrook. He had his Russell Westbrook game in Game 5. We could also, on the same coin, we
could get high next game.
That's a
great
two
point.
Titans going at each other.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Yeah, that's true. I think Denver is going to close it out.
I don't know. This just feels like 7 to me. And I'm not. I'm definitely scared as like a adopted Clippers fan for the 2 weeks.
All right, where are you going next?
How many players are better in the NBA than Anthony Edwards? We didn't really talk about the Timberwolves all that much in that last Lakers segment, and this is I wrote this question before this last game. But I think it's good to even point out Anthony Edwards did not have it going last game just last night in Game 5 at all. 43 minutes. He was 5 for 19, 0 for 11 from 3. Just could not hit the broadside of a barn. But 8 assists and 0 turnovers. I think Anthony Edwards, obviously just like a masterclass in closing out the Lakers in Game 4 with his 43-point explosion. I think Anthony Edwards has just like grown up in front of us. I didn't know what to think coming into the playoffs after his just like really like basically played like one of the top 5 shooters in the NBA all season. And now he has this patience when starting the offense. I think he stays more involved than he ever has in the past. how good is this guy? Like there is nothing aesthetically more pleasing as a basketball fan than to see a uber dominant shooting guard, and that's what we're seeing right now.
It's really hard to think about where you're gonna rank Ant, I guess, in that regard, because the Lakers are just letting him get that isolation on Luka every single time. They never pre-switched it. He just got Luka matched on him whenever he wanted, and there was no rim protector behind him. So I think, not that he's playing on easy mode, because it was a really physical series and he was getting bumped and hit a lot, even by the wings defending the paint. I kind of want to see what it looks like when he's playing a normal team where there's not that bad of a perimeter defender and there's actual rim protection. But, I mean, if we're being reactionary, I think he's kind of jumped Luka.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the way Luka played this year is obviously still an incredible player, but like I felt like last year I exited the year with Luka firmly as my number 2 player, and I think over the course of the second half of this year in the playoffs thus far, I think Shea has jumped him. I think Giannis I would put ahead of him again. And I think Ant, after that series, I know the Lakers had their roster limitations, but I still think Ant, the way he played, at least for now, I have to put Ant ahead of Luka. So I think I have an Ant 4 right now.
The one guy, I'm with you on all those guys.
Well, maybe 5. Have you considered Julius Randle?
True. Yeah, I have a big apology that I need to say to Julius Randle, but we can save that for later. My one guy that I'm not sure where to put him in the atmosphere of Anthony Edwards is Jason Tatum. Because I think they offer a lot of the same things, just in different packages. And in my mind's eye, what Jason Tatum can supply on defense, just because of his tangible tools, just make him a little bit more valuable on that side. But also Anthony Edwards, I think, just operates a little bit smarter on the offensive end. So that's kind of tough for me.
I think the thing, though, and this is what I'm not I would take Ant over Tatum. I don't even think I'd think twice about it. Ant's just a way better jump shooter than Jason Tatum at this point.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy to say, but Ant's what really separates Ant this year is it's not the decision making. It's just you have to play up on him, which makes his driving game a lot better. And I think Tatum is a better help defender than Ant. I think his positional size is great, but one thing Ant might be the best player in the NBA at just stripping the ball.
Yeah,
he's
he
incredibly good at creating fast breaks, and when you create that, when you create the pick six, that's a huge momentum shifter. He's the way Ant can shift the energy of a game right now. I don't know. I think he's got to be 4. For me,
yeah.
Right now.
I mean, I got him right there, and I think this is something that we should keep track on, because I think I'm being a little reactionary, because I do want to see what it looks like when he's playing a normal team. But I don't think it's the most reactionary thing ever, because we're coming off a season where Ant just shot the absolute leather off the ball
on a ton of volume, yeah.
Yeah, on huge volume, literally Steph Curry-esque volume from 3. And then we've seen him do it in basically most of the last 4 playoff series that we've seen him in.
Yeah. But if I am being reactionary and I'm going to be say something I might regret, I don't know I think there's a world where he could exit the playoffs and you're no, he actually might be better than Shea and Giannis too.
I'm with you. I am 100% with you on that. I mean, when we're talking about this ilk of player, you got to get really, really nitty gritty with it. And I think obviously Giannis is incredible on offense, but Giannis is a lot harder to build around than a guy like Anthony Edwards. And I'd still probably rather have Giannis, but we'll see how sustainable this is from Anthony Edwards is all I'll say.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the hard part about these conversations, too, is, obviously Giannis is playing on a team where it's they die unless Gary Trent has an out-of-body experience. Mm-hmm. While Giannis is putting up, 33 points on, 65% shooting. So it's really, you know what I mean? I don't want to fault Giannis for his teammates too much. While Ant's playing on a team where Julius Randle is playing he is Giannis.
Having the best playoff series of his entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, Rudy Gobert. Can I say something about Rudy Gobert just real quick in between? Last night, I think should, for many reasons, be considered the Rudy Gobert game. But, like, I just hope everyone realizes that was, like, the definitive game in Rudy Gobert's career. Like, so much of the Rudy Gobert discourse, and I think it's fair, has been like, oh, he's played off the court in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Like, he can't survive in small ball lineups. And in that game, when Ant didn't have it going, Julius Randle kind of had it going, but wasn't like, he wasn't shooting 90% from the field. Rudy Gobert, every time they needed a timely rebound, every time they needed a timely cut to the basket, Rudy Gobert was right there. I think he really needs to be given his flowers for that game because, like, when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, which will happen one day, that will be the number one game that I think of when I think of Rudy Gobert.
A game one. Okay, I mean, round one after how many 4 depoys, he finally has a signature game.
He does.
I'll give him his flowers for last night, but I don't know, Pat. I feel like that almost speaks against him in a way.
Okay. It's not like it was just like a 20 and 10. He had 27 points and 24 rebounds.
He was awesome last night.
Nobody has done that in the playoffs since Tim Duncan. Like, it's not a thing. Like, that level of dominance in a game. And he looked like George Mikan out there. I will admit, like, he was playing against a bunch of 6'7" people running around. But he did it. And I think a lot of people, I mean, hey, we both picked against the Timberwolves. A lot of people would have said that he would not be able to survive there, and he closed out the Lakers essentially by himself.
He was awesome last night. I don't want to take away from him, but there's a world, Patrick, where the Timberwolves lose in like the conference finals, and it's like, remember when Rudy Gobert had a great game in round one time?
Hey, he'll always have that game.
All right. Let's pivot to the East. Obviously, whose question is it?
It's yours. It's yours.
Where's Giannis
I just asked
going?
about Anthony Edwards. Where's Giannis going? Oh, I've been waiting for this one. That's my next question too. I have got so many fake trades for you, but start out this conversation, James.
So I heard the Spurs are interested. I don't know if I love the Wemby-Giannis fit on offense, to be honest. But on defense, I mean, geez, that team would be a nightmare.
What don't you like about it on offense?
I kind of like the idea of Vic being able to operate in the paint a little bit more.
I just feel like he's like Mecca Brook Lopez.
But I think if you're the Spurs, you want to gear the team to playing through Wemby, no? Because I feel like Giannis has developed as a passer a lot. I think Giannis had a lot of great passing games. I think Giannis had like a 15-assist game at some point later in the season. But Wemby showed a lot of passing chops, and I think you want to play through him a bit more, no?
Yeah, play through him. That 4-5 pick and roll is going to be just something nasty.
Will it, though? I mean, what about turning the corner for these guys? I don't know. I still feel like you'd still want to run it with a developed version of your guards.
I mean, you're not going to do it like – you're not going to spam it like the Jamal Murray, Jokic pick and roll. But I think if you have them doing something like that and you've got cutters like Steph Castle and Sohan, like David, that's going to be extremely, extremely hard to defend. And, like, if Giannis is rolling to the rim and you get the ball to Giannis and then Victor Wembanyama's also rolling right behind him to clean up any like miss that Giannis could make, what are you going to do? And I think you could get it done for a pretty like doable price. Like Vassell, Barnes, and then they have 2 top 20 picks in this draft. And they could trade a 2026 Chicago, a 2027 Atlanta, and then their own 2029. Like, not many teams are offering that as much, like, I think win now / pick equity while also being able to retain a lot of picks for themselves for later.
No, I definitely think they should do the trade. I do think it might be a little bit clunkier than your thinking. I don't know. That's kind of where my head's at. Because I just don't. I know Vic is a decent shooter and he likes to shoot, but I just feel like the best version of them is when Vic is inside the arc.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I want to keep encouraging him to do that. But yeah, I mean, Houston's another team that is kind of rumored, and I don't know about you, Pat. Obviously, you should add Giannis, but I feel like Houston, if they're going to add a star, they should try to add a star who's going to replace Jalen Green.
I gotta be honest with you. Coming into this playoffs, I was kind of all aboard the like, if it doesn't work out in the first round, which by all means it seems like it's not gonna pan out for them this go around, the Rockets should capitalize and go for a star. But I think there's way too much unknowns with the Rockets right now. And I kind of agree with you that they should keep their powder dry for now. Like, if you can get Giannis at an okay price, do it. But I don't think like as a Suns example, giving like the full Kevin Durant where it's like all the young players you want and all the picks we got, like, I get it if you do it, if you're the Rockets, but I don't know. I think there's a big chance that you end up where the Bucks are right now after.
I think if I'm the Rockets, this might sound stupid, especially given my feelings about the guy, but I feel like Kevin Durant's a way better fit for this roster, and I'd rather pay less for a 2-year run with Durant than go all in for Giannis. Not because I don't think Giannis is awesome, just because I feel like this team is great when you can play like Tari Eason and Şengün, and you could play Eason at the 3 if Giannis is there. But what happens when Amen Thompson finishes his ascent, and now you've got Amen and Giannis out there, and there's 2 non-shooters?
Yeah.
I just feel like roster fit-wise, Kevin Durant, I'd rather take the short-term flyer on Durant and then reassess where I'm at the end of a little Durant tenure than go all in for Giannis. If I'm the Rockets, I don't know if you feel the same, because it's not like some of the things Giannis would add to a lot of teams, he's going to add to Houston. Houston's already a great rebounding team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's hard for me to say anyone shouldn't trade for Giannis if they have the opportunity.
Like, if they get a good price, they have to go for it.
But I mean, the other side of it for me is like, if I'm the Bucks, like, is that what I want to do? Like, do I want to get into the Jalen Green business? And then after that, like, are the picks what's most important to me? Because, like, yes, they have those 3 Suns picks, which are obviously pretty valuable. So you can get that. But it's still, like, it's obviously a lottery. And then, like, I don't know how much more you're getting players-wise from the Rockets. Like, what is the impetus to put in more than, like, Jalen Green, Reed Shepherd, and, like, I don't know, just a little bit more salary? And then, like, you run the risk of 2 years later, it's like, the Bucks don't have their own picks. What if, the Suns are able to turn it around just enough to where they're getting in the playoffs? So those are like late lottery picks.
You don't got to worry about that, Pat.
I think you do. Because the Suns aren't trading Devin Booker. Like, they're just not. And you can laugh, but they're going to be right around the bottom of the playoffs, top of the lottery. It's like not a lock that those are top 10 picks at all, in my opinion. And so, like, if you have a bunch of late lottery and Jalen Green and Reed Shepherd doesn't do anything, like, what are you sitting with?
Yeah, so I know Brooklyn's the team that comes up a lot for Giannis, but I don't understand it for Giannis himself. Like, why would he want to go to Brooklyn?
Well, I think, I guess it's like if Giannis has, like, a running mate that he wants to go with in the summer. But because they I think can make another max cap like slot, but like, look at the Suns, look at the Sixers, look at the Lakers. Like, I think Giannis, I would hope Giannis is a little bit smarter than that.
Is there a team outside of those 3? Because those are the 3 teams you hear a lot. Is there another team that has a feat that you think has like a war chest? Like, question is, like, I don't even know because it's Giannis. You know, if he's okay playing in Milwaukee, Patrick, and Utah, you're sitting there and you're going, well, OKC owns our pick next year. We can't tank. Like, is Utah a team that could maybe make us trade for Giannis?
I mean, maybe I would imagine like maybe Giannis is okay with that. I think.
I mean, if Danny Ainge was like Giannis, if we trade for you and we bring in, I don't know, Tyler Hero, and you got you, Hero, and Markkanen with Kessler, do you feel okay with that, or are you kind of? I don't know. That's a weird team, but maybe not Tyler Hero, and maybe they switch off Markkanen because I don't know if Markkanen should be playing the 3 full time, to be honest, with how bad the playmaking is from him. But like, is there a version of Utah where maybe they do like the '08 Celtics, where it's like they traded for KG, oh, they just got Ray Allen, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they traded for
like
KD as well, or
yeah. Is it
like
like the 2020 Clippers where it's like, why did they sign, or why did they trade for Paul George? Oh, they got Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I mean, we haven't talked about the Thunder at all. I think that's like a super realistic, like, I don't know why you don't do it if you have the option, because like Hartenstein's making $30 million next year, so it could essentially be Hartenstein, like a Dort or Topic or someone around there, and then war chest of picks
Yeah,
that they
Cason
still
Wallace, Hartenstein, bunch of picks, and some sort of salary matching. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the apron rules for them, but that's a great point. OKC would be an amazing team, especially if OKC gets bounced, at any point in these playoffs.
Can I tell you my craziest trade that was legal that I made?
Yeah.
So the Milwaukee Bucks trade Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard to the Philadelphia 76ers for Joel Embiid, Paul George, Jared McCain, the Clippers' first-round pick in 2028, their first-round pick in 2030, and a swap in 2031, as well as a top 5 pick in this draft.
I don't think either team wants to. I mean, I think Milwaukee would do it.
I think Milwaukee would do it too.
I don't think Philly would do that.
Why not?
Because you don't want to give up that top 5 pick. I mean, it could be Cooper Flagg.
Hey, you got Giannis coming in though. Giannis, Tyrese Maxey.
Is 30.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but I think that's the kind of trade that would be perfect for the Bucks. As a team that doesn't control their draft assets like until 2031, essentially, it's like they need win now guys, because it's like, what if we're not winning, what are we doing?
I have another weird superstar for superstar trade that I think is actually better for Milwaukee, because I think the other team would be so open to it. If you're Milwaukee and you don't own your picks, you may as well try to be good. Why not roll the dice on Zion?
Yeah. I mean, at least it's something to get excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it's got kind of what you need, right? It's got a wide range of outcomes. It could go really poorly. It could go really well.
I mean, I wonder.
It probably makes the trade a lot easier with the salaries. I don't know. I feel like, and I know New Orleans reportedly has a mandate to trade him this summer. So,
I know. What's your bullshit detector on that?
I think it's true.
That there's a mandate, so he's going to be going to a different team?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just like, I don't know. It has to be a star-for-star thing, in my opinion, for New Orleans for that to make sense. So Zion makes $39 million next year. Giannis makes $54, and then it's like you slide in. Actually, Herb Jones is perfect to slide in. There you go. Zion and Herb Jones for Giannis. Throw some picks in there.
And they have the swaps. New Orleans has the swaps with Milwaukee, so they could give them their picks back, which means Milwaukee protects themselves in the Zion is perpetually injured.
Did we just cook, James?
We might have just cooked. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're Milwaukee, like getting your picks back is like the best thing you could do, because I think like, this will sound weird because this team I don't even think made the conference finals, but genuinely I think the best rebuild ever was probably the Brooklyn Nets with Sean Marks like turning the worst situation in the NBA into Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving when they were all still, relatively in their primes. And I think the one missing piece of that rebuild was getting his own picks back from the Celtics. And I think this is a weird situation where I don't see why every NBA team doesn't try to rebuild that way. I mean, it worked just so well.
The way the Nets
just
rebuild?
Like, hey, you want to just like give us your worst contract and a first round pick? I don't care if it's protected, and we'll just suck for like 2 years, but we'll, I don't know.
Well, okay, this is very big market of you to say, because let's not act like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant didn't just decide to go to Brooklyn. They had a great rebuild, but like if that never happened, what are we saying about that rebuild?
But they went to Brooklyn because the organization had proven itself to be like savvy. Because remember where they were right before they signed those guys. It was like Jared Allen. They built D'Lo into his All-Star season.
I hear you, but if Sacramento does that, if Sacramento rebuilds really savvy and, they get a bunch of scrappy young guys, like are Giannis and Wemby deciding to team up there in 5 years?
Maybe international guys.
Maybe. The answer is probably not.
Probably not. But it's not like Brooklyn's a premier team. Brooklyn's never had been a team like that until that happened.
But it's in Brooklyn, New York.
That's true. All right.
Come on.
You raise a good point. But I still think it was a great rebuild to even open up cap space while having all those assets.
Well, I'm with you on that. And I think, like, the Harden trade should not have happened in reality. Like, they were low-key stacked when they got Kyrie and KD. And I think if they would have just let that, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, that whole thing just kind of simmer. A bunch of guys that have played big roles on playoff teams every year since then. Maybe it would have played out a little better, obviously.
Push back a little bit just because when those three guys were together, it was incredible.
It was.
It was insane. It's so sad we never got more of that team.
But the whole problem with the team was the margin of error was so slim.
I feel like if they were healthy, they're just blowing everybody out.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We're going on to the 2022 Brooklyn Nets right now. We're supposed to be asking questions about the future. I don't even know whose turn is it.
It's worse. It's the 2021. Okay. What is next for Miami? That's what I have written down, James.
That's literally going to be my next question.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
Did you see the Bam quote?
Yeah, I have it right in front of me. Would you like me to read it?
Please read it.
There's going to be a lot of changes this summer, just from my point of view. Understanding how the guy with the silver hair works, just be prepared for that. What does that mean?
Pat, I was wondering, are we getting Bam and Hero traded this year?
Maybe. It's hard to say, but I mean, pretty much the most disheartening way I have seen a team go out in a very, very long time. Like for a team to make the playoffs and then just get absolutely, like, I think we both think highly of the Cavaliers, but I don't think they should have beat the Heat by, 50 in back-to-back playoff games.
Yeah, no, the Cavs destroyed the Heat's spirit. I think the Heat are in a really, really tough spot. They don't have a lot of assets other than Bam and Hero.
Terry Rozier completely fell off,
I think, yeah, I feel like we've said this before, but Terry Rozier was so bad this year, they literally investigated him to see if he was purposely throwing games. That can't, why is no one talking about that?
I don't know. But with all that being said, if you combine, you've got Andrew Wiggins' $28 million deal. You've got Terry Rozier's $26 million deal. You've got Duncan Robinson's $19 million deal. And then you've got 2 picks in the draft this year, and you have a tradable 2027 pick. You've got a tradable 2029 or 2030, or 2 of 2029 through 2031. They have the tools to acquire a superstar without trading Tyler Hero or Bam if they so want to. I think I don't know if they could make themselves into a contender. I think it depends on the player. But like we were just talking about a guy like Zion. I don't know if they want to like jump into the rehabilitation game. I don't know if they want to. We've heard things about the Kevin Durant mutual interest there. Does any of that interest you?
I just feel like we're gonna have to empty the war chest too much for Giannis to help the team out.
Yeah.
Patrick, what would have been really great if the Heat were like, if they had Jimmy Butler as a tradable asset right now. We got fleeced by the Warriors, and that's gonna hurt the team going forward for like a long time.
Yeah, that was
a fleecing. I called it at the time. Like one pick. Are we not gonna act like Jimmy Butler hasn't been better than Kevin Durant in the playoffs for 5 straight years now? What are we doing?
Okay, were you not telling me that pick was gonna be a lottery pick this year?
No, I did say they should. I know that the top 10 protection didn't end up mattering, but the fact that they didn't even protect themselves from a possible Steph Jimmy injury is ridiculous. Like, how did we get fleeced so badly in this trade?
So what is the move? Organizational.
Just hold on to him.
Yes, I'm there with you, but now I'm hearing
I think the problem with that trade that people are forgetting, the Warriors were like the 13 seed when they made that trade. The Heat could have been like, if you want to ruin the end of Steph's career, go ahead. We'll just keep Jimmy. Like, if you don't give us everything, you get nothing.
Yeah. And
he had all the leverage. It's just weird that people act like the Heat had no leverage because Jimmy was doing his holdout. They had all the leverage. We saved their season.
And now it's extra tough if you're a Heat fan because you're looking at it and it's like, what was the worst case scenario? Us getting swept in the first round if Jimmy refused to play?
Yeah, I don't know what I think the Heat navigated this so poorly. And then also, if you're gonna trade Jimmy, why not? Maybe just blow it up from there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have such real team control with this roster right now that there's no real need. You're not in either apron right now, which that's a great place to be. Even if you want to keep Andrew Wiggins around, just to be a little on the bright side, even if you want to keep Andrew Wiggins around, you can get to around $40 million in multiple machinations of 3 contracts here. I think, if you wanted to go crazy and do a buy low, a Trae Young kind of thing, even I don't know, you would hate this, but a Sabonis kind of thing if they really believed in that. I think it could change quickly. And you were able to find Davion Mitchell, really, really great for the Heat in the second half of the season. Kelly Ware was great for the Heat in the second half of the season. I don't think it's so dark. I think they have options, but yeah, we'll see, because it seems like they have been being outplayed at the executive level.
I think for sure. I personally think it's funny we were talking about the Brooklyn rebuild strategy. I mean, what better team to do that with? Start out with assets from a BAM trade or a Hero trade, and then absorb bad contracts for 2 years and set yourself up for whatever year the free agency looks good in a year or two.
The tough thing with the BAM trade now is I just feel like you're trading him at just
his
the
lowest value,
absolute basement of his value.
You don't think he could get traded to the Lakers?
Maybe if they trade Austin Reeves.
I feel like the thing is, I don't even know if that's the center they want, because I feel like they want more of a traditional rim protector than a super switchy guy, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd take him
yeah.
if he was available.
Well, the Heat will be like, just give us a top 12 protected pick and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, and then they draft, Dwayne Wade 2.0 with that pick.
Oh, I'm a lot more pessimistic on the Heat than you are. I think this could get ugly pretty fast.
I mean, it's not great right now, but I'm just you have the pieces that every contending team is looking for. So you can either capitalize on that and make yourself a contender, or I think contenders will pay through the nose for a lot of what you have.
I feel like next year for the Heat, the one team you could jump is Milwaukee because we're projecting a Giannis trade. And the teams that are likely to jump you are the Sixers with health. Just the Sixers are not going to be 24-58 again. I refuse to believe that. Probably the Raptors and probably the Bulls. So there's 3 teams that I think have a real shot of jumping the Heat, and I think there's only one team that the Heat have a real shot of jumping themselves. So I don't know. I'd be worried if I was the Heat a lot.
Is there no scenario the Heat jump the Knicks next regular season?
The Knicks?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that, but I don't think so. I feel like I've been the commander of the Knicks are not that good since literally the day the Cat trade was made, and I feel pretty vindicated through this first round, but I don't know. They're a lot better than us.
I think there's a scenario. I just think, like, the Heat could go crazy. There's so much variance with this. And you're probably right that, like, they get hopped by a lot of teams. But it's also like they have their picks. So, like, you know, go get AJ DeBansa.
Yeah, that'd be great if Pat Riley was like, we should pot him out, which I don't think he'll let us.
I just don't get the Eric Spoelstra.
He's only going to let them do that when the Wemby free agency is approaching.
That's true. That's true. I don't get the whispers that I keep hearing of, like, oh, like, Eric Spoelstra should step into the GM role and get a new coach. Like, you have, like, the best coach in the league. Just maybe hire a GM.
Coach. Let him coach?
Yeah, let him coach.
I floated that to you just because I do feel like there has been a sense of within the Heat fan base, even the year they went into the finals versus Denver, where it's like, what is Pat doing? Because it did feel like we made it to the finals, especially the second time off the back of, like, holy shit, Jimmy just had an out-of-body experience for 3 weeks and we're in the finals, and it didn't really feel like we got there because of, like, shrewd roster moves from Pat. It really did feel like it was like Spoelstra's just creating role players out of thin air. Jimmy's playing out of his mind, and we really don't have the proper support for Jimmy.
But even if that's the case, that's like the argument why you don't move Eric Spoelstra out of the head coaching position.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I definitely want Spoelstra to coach. All right, is it my turn?
I think it's our last 2 questions have been the same question.
All right. I mean, it sucks because we don't know who they're playing yet. But OKC, man, is it like, what kind of team is this? Because they set the record for point differential in the regular season. They won pretty much on average. An OKC game ended with a 12-point OKC win this year.
Second best net rating of all time in the regular season behind the 95-96 Bulls.
Wait, I thought they were first.
They fell. It's like
they fell at the end. They fell.
Yeah, they fell right at the end.
Okay, so this team profiles as, yes, like that kind of a team. Obviously, Memphis was completely crumbling, and Memphis even had a game they would have probably won had Ja not gotten injured. So it's not like OKC was this unbeatable juggernaut. In fact, I think Cleveland on tilt looked a little bit better in the first round. But, like, Here we go, OKC, Clippers, probably Denver. Like, is it going to be like a whomping again, or is it going to be like okay, like this looks like the Mavs series where it's a little tough? I'm not saying the Mavs series and that they'll lose, but the Mavs series and that, like, it's a battle. You're not
it's a dogfight.
By 12 points every game.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I picked OKC to win the championship coming into the playoffs, and I'm very comfortable sitting there, even with them looking the best player in the world down as potentially their matchup for this next round. I mean, I think, you said it earlier in this podcast. We've been talking about it a lot recently, just in private conversations. I think this is the playoffs of the lowest common denominator, in that, like, your worst player that you have to play almost defines you as much as your best player. And who is better for a world like that than the Oklahoma City Thunder? They just have so much depth. They have the top end scoring talent. As long as Shea, he didn't have the pop off the box score numbers in the first round, but they still swept the Grizzlies. I think, I don't know why you would have any reason not to believe they're gonna keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. It just feels like they've been playing on easy mode for a lot of this whole year, where it's just like, wow, they're up by 20. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm like really excited to see what OKC looks like playing like one of these other teams. Like I'm with you. I picked OKC to win the West, so I'm confident in OKC. But I guess I'm more curious. Like, is this going to be like an extension of the regular season where it's like, whoa, they just beat the Nuggets in 5, or is it going to be like, okay, the Nuggets took them to 6, took them to 7?
I think if they're playing against the Nuggets, honestly, even if they're playing against the Clippers, I would pick them. Pick Thunder in 6 for both series. Just because it's, they are very experienced teams, both the Nuggets. They are a championship core, and the Clippers, who, they have a championship core, just not for the Clippers. They have Toronto's championship core, championship coach.
I don't know if OKC fans are ready for like Russ villain in OKC.
That is going to be really weird. I feel like Russ is going to get one game where he just explodes away in OKC. And they might end up losing that game anyways. And then the OKC fans will be happy.
All right. How many questions do we have left? I think 2 more for you, 1 more for me.
I just have 1 more written down. I just wrote down 5. My question is just, have the Rockets found something in these last 2 games with Amen Thompson? I don't know. I know you didn't have a chance to watch the Warriors-Rockets game yesterday. Were you able to watch any of Game 4?
I've only been able to watch the first 2, and then I saw Jimmy Butler's rebounding heroics to go up 3-1.
So basically, I was for Game 4 and Game 5. I rewatched Game 5 yesterday, and Game 4 I was writing down just like reaction notes as I was watching the game, and especially in the first half, I wrote it down 2 or 3 times, and there's no bigger like Amen apologist than me, but in the first half of that game, and it was a carry-on thing from I think the first 3 games of just like, Amen looks scared to shoot. What is he doing? Like, he's doing a lot of the like John Morant, I'm jumping in the air when I really have no idea where I'm going, and I'm just kind of throwing the ball to, a contested Dillon Brooks. No real plan, no real aggression. You can tell that he's not trying to really score the ball. And then at the start of the fourth quarter, the Rockets were down like 10-ish, and then you see this flash of the future of what the Rockets could be. In the fourth quarter of that game, Amen Thompson scored 8 points. He had 4 rebounds. He was actually a plus in the plus minus of that quarter, a quarter that they ended up losing. And then after the game, he had comments of just like, at halftime, he realized that he just wasn't playing his own game. He wasn't being himself. And then he comes out in the first half of this game last night, has 15 points, 3 in the first half, 3 steals, and is just like an absolute the reason that wasn't a game yesterday was because of Amen Thompson. And then he had a better half in the second half, scoring 14 points in the second half, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds. I really think like this Amen rim pressure thing that the Rockets have just, I guess, emboldened him to do is the answer for the Rockets, because they have played well enough defensively and almost offensively to be leading in this series, and they're losing because they didn't have the reliable offense, because Alperen Şengün has just been being stonewalled by Draymond Green. And it's just, especially with Jimmy Butler hurt, with Steph Curry now, his thumb is injured, it's just something to keep track of.
Well, to be fair to Amin Thompson, the jump at the rim with no plan strategy was working incredibly well all year. I think I made a joke that every Rockets game has a 5-minute stretch where he just does that over and over and over again, and they just kind of scores. Like, that's kind of been a thing that was super effective for them this year. But I think I'm scared for the Rockets just going back to the Warriors arena, because I hate to do the, like, they're an experienced team, but really it's like, the Warriors know what's at stake in Game 6. Like, they have to close it out there. I mean, I think the Warriors feel fine going to Houston in Game 7. I don't think they're afraid of that. But they do know that, like, no shit, the easiest path is winning the game that just seals the series. But I think they know that it's really worth going full. You know, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a really tough place to play for Houston. So we'll have to see if they maintain it. I have 2 final questions. I feel like I'm asking a lot of questions.
Hey, that's what this is all about. This is an open forum.
Are the Knicks cooked? Like, I'm going to preemptively guess the Knicks get destroyed by the Celtics next round. I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And
if they even close out this series.
Here's where I am on the Knicks. I still somewhat believe in this core. I believe in the offense in a vacuum. I believe in OG. I am still a Mikal Bridges guy, but Tom Thibodeau is not the head coach for this team. Like, his resistance to doing what works, it has just been mind-numbing to watch in this series.
Tom
like,
Thibodeau's
the fact
resistance to like letting guys play basketball has been we already complained about Tibbs like the last 2 episodes, but yeah.
Just the fact that you have Tobias Harris guarding Karl Anthony Towns so much, and you refuse to post Cat up on Tobias Harris when he does it, it's an incredibly efficient offensive move for you. And this is in a series when you can't score other than just having Jalen Brunson ISO. Like, what are you doing?
The Knicks are one bad call away from being down 3-2 going back to Detroit. If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be freaking out. This team doesn't look like at all qualified to compete with Cleveland or Boston.
Yeah.
And they didn't all year, to be honest. They got just destroyed when they played those teams. Other than you lost to the Celtics in overtime one time. That's cool.
They are hanging a banner for that, actually.
Yeah, overtime loss. April 2nd.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm with you. I big Knicks apologist over here, but I mean, it's been very ugly, and I'm so with you that Knicks fans should be freaking out because I will be picking the Celtics in 5 if they end up winning this series. Honestly, probably even if it's against the Pistons, I'll pick Celtics in 5.
Yeah. Okay, my other quick question. I think other than a few individual calls that I haven't liked, obviously the increased physicality is a huge win for the NBA. To your point from last week, the pace of play is so much better when there's more no calls. That's what I think the problem with the NBA is too. Is it's not necessarily should it be an offense foul on the offense or the defense a lot of times. Just there should just be more no calls in general on drives to the basket. I feel like it should be pickup game levels of contact. You know, I am wondering though for the NBA now. These playoffs are awesome. I think these playoffs decidedly are better than last year's playoffs, and last year's playoffs also had a ratchet up in physicality. Is the NBA going to finally just say ref the regular season like the playoffs?
That is the $1 million question. I think if there's ever a time to do it, it's right now. You're changing broadcast partners, so you're going to be able to kind of adjust the tenor of the conversation around the league, around the games, with NBC stepping in instead of TNT. I mean, we just saw Adam Silver this week came out and said, I think we need people to talk about this league that love the league. And I think that's pretty deep and what he should be messaging out right now. But I don't know if it's possible to ref it that way.
The ratings are so good for these playoffs. I think I saw they're the highest rated playoffs, TV, viewers wise, in forever. perfect time. Reduce the games down to contact any sort of season-long fatigue that comes from playing this way. It's obvious. Go down to like 66 games or something. Play like this level of physicality. Make the games more important because there's less of them. Make every NBA game feel like a must-watch event. I mean, this Lakers-Timberwolves series, this Denver's-Clippers series, Knicks-Pistons, every game has been like, if I can watch it, I have to watch it because they're so exciting. And the level of shot making, especially that game the Knicks ended up winning on the no call, like, I don't want to take away from the Knicks win. The shot making from Karl Towns and Brunson to close that game was awe-inspiring.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That super long three from Cat to kind of close
the baseline fade from Cat.
Crazy.
Some of Brunson's shots, like just and the shots feel so much bigger in these games where it's so physical and the guys are still making these incredible shots. It feels so much more cool. It feels so much more epic. It's time, NBA. It's really time.
Yeah, I mean, I am so with you. I am so with you across the board. I think if you cut down the games, there's just so many great things that will come from it. And, like, yeah, you can point to records in history. Like, we can do records in history by averages. That's fine. I think that's pretty fair to do.
Yeah, I think preserving the history of the game in like protest of progress for the sport is a bad idea, because I think if we've learned anything from this first round, what makes a great NBA game is good physicality, maybe a little dialed down from what we have now, but a good level of physicality, because pace of play is being allowed. Games have stakes. That's what the regular season's missing, is stakes. Obviously, you can add that by reducing the games. I feel like we've had the formula here. These games are awesome. This has been the best week of NBA basketball in like years, I feel like.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's like saying like, oh, like I've only eaten hamburgers my entire life. I must preserve this consistency of eating hamburgers. It's like, well, eating hamburgers isn't healthy for you anymore. You're going to have to eat some ribs and you'll be operating a lot better.
Yeah, and I also feel like, like to the point of like history is so important. The NFL just added another game, and they're going to add another game, which is going to destroy their record book. I think most NFL fans like the 16-game season, but at the end of the day, like, they still have so few games that it's okay. But that's the whole point. They didn't care about that, and they're doing what's good for their league. So the NBA should do what's good for its own league.
100% with you, my man.
All right, you want to get to best take, worst take?
Yeah, we got to wrap up pretty quick. Best take, worst take, the part of the show where we decide who had the best take of the last 7 days and who had the worst take. Where do you want to start, James?
My worst take, or my best take. Sorry, I got to give it to LeBron just because this made me laugh. I know it was a joke, so it's not much as a take, but let me get the exact quote. I'm sure you saw this. It was actually so funny. LeBron James on the challenge of playing with no center. He said, "No comment. My guy Anthony Davis said what he needed," and then he was gone the following week. So I don't know if any of you remember, but Anthony Davis was like, "We need to sign a center," and then the Lakers were like, "You're traded. Don't talk about that."
I will say, if I was a Lakers fan, I think he did say it with a chuckle, but that quote would have sent a shiver down my spine. A pretty accurate, great end of the season quote from LeBron, who will probably be looking to wield all of his LeBron powers this offseason. My best take of the week goes to Tyrese Halliburton, who tweeted, "Overrate that," in all caps after being voted by his peers as the most overrated player in the NBA, and then having a walk-off drive to the hoop layup over Giannis. Just talk your shit, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, and Patrick, I feel bad. We didn't ask any questions about Cavs Pacers, but that's because I kind of want to watch it before I ask any questions about it.
It's gonna be a beautiful series. I am very excited for that series.
All right, my worst take goes to Steve Kerr.
Ooh, what'd he say?
And I actually got to give Tibbs some flowers here.
Oh, okay.
So, this past week we had the FU Draymond chance at an arena, and we had the FU Brunson chance. at a different arena.
Mm-hmm.
This is how Tibbs responded to it. To Jalen, those are cheers. Kerr said the guy has kids. Steve Kerr, shut the fuck up, bro. Draymond Green is like the biggest shit talker. He has said the worst shit on the planet, and you're worried about the guy has kids? I bet his kids have seen the worst shit ever living with fucking Draymond Green.
Yeah, he stomps on people's chests, kicks people in the balls, cheap shots people left and right. I am so with you.
I'm not gonna lie. I started watching Court of Gold. I find Steve Kerr like kind of insufferable at times. He is just annoying.
He can get annoying. I generally like Steve Kerr, but I get why you say that.
Steve, I think what's really annoying about Steve Kerr is he's one of those guys who's like playing the moral high ground all the time, but often doesn't have it the other half of the time, and then acts like he didn't moral grandstand. I don't know. I find that really annoying with him. I think the moral grandstanding with him is getting a little annoying.
My worst take of the week is going to Scottie Pippen Jr., who said he went on after the Grizzlies Game 4 loss on FanDuel TV and said, I think we all felt pretty well. It could go either way. I feel like if he doesn't go out, referring to Ja going out in Game 4, that they had the Thunder all figured out. I don't think you guys had
that individual game. In that indiviable game.
No, I think he was referring to the entire series. I think he was predicting the first ever comeback
3-0.
After being down 3-0. And that's why he got my worst take of the week this week.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Can I do a fun Pippen story?
Yeah, please.
Have you ever watched Selling Sunset? Because we're getting to Hot Streak Shooting Slump.
Yes, I have.
So there's an episode of Selling Sunset where Malik Beasley's girlfriend Larsa Pippen tours a house.
The Thunder made him Scottie Pippen Jr.
Tours a house. Patrick, she walks into a walk-in closet that is literally the size of like your bedroom and my bedroom put together. And, it's just like the greatest walk-in closet you've ever seen any of us could dream in. She's like, the closet's too small. I drive past that house like once a month sometimes because it's really close to my apartment. And it just, I can't, every time I drive past it, I die. It's
Can't
too
conceive
funny.
how that could possibly be too small for
it's
her.
like one of those like perfect, beautiful modern houses that is just like, oh my God, what I would do to live in that house. It's like one of those from the outside. It's just insane. But the closet's too small.
How a person who is married to Scottie Pippen and now a Jordan must feel about things is just incomprehensible to me.
Oh, I forgot she already moved on from Malik Beasley. That wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, no. Hey,
that woman moves quick.
She's like a stealth Kardashian.
Give it like a year and she'll be with Jalen Green.
That's true. Not if he keeps playing like this. I'm gonna have to see some more double-digit scoring performances, Mr. Green.
Did you see Jalen Green's? I think baby mom was like 40. It's like double his age.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that a while ago.
Not that that's new news, but
he does need maturity, I think.
We're matchmaking right now.
All right. Honestly, for me, I got to get out of here pretty quick. I just been watching basketball. That's all I've been doing. Like just mainlining NBA basketball and standing out in the rain.
I am on I'm going to say I'm on a slump only because I got sick 2 weeks ago. I still have congestion. I've been on antibiotics for 9 days now and my gums still don't feel right. They still hurt.
It's like your second, third time this year being on antibiotics. It's rough.
I don't know, man. It's been rough. And these antibiotics they have me on are really tough. And I'm not a pill taker normally. Mm-hmm. I'm not that I'm against it. I never really got sick growing up, and then this year I just get sick all the time. But dude, I accidentally took like too many one day and I was just woozy as hell. Like couldn't focus, super spacey. So I'm on a shooting slump until I'm off the antibiotics.
Yeah, that'll zonk you out. I feel like even like just first 3 days on like antibiotics like that, you just like it's hard to be your best self.
Yeah, no, it's been tough. But thank you guys for listening. Next week we will assuredly talk about the teams that actually won their series. Sorry Timberwolves fans that we focused entirely on the team that you guys beat, but we
Timberwolves fans, I gave you a whole monologue about Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. So we'll be back. See you guys then. Peace.